The dojo smelled faintly of sweat and sandalwood. Punching bags swung gently as students stretched and chatted before class began.
Among them stood Lena Park, a quiet woman in her late 20s who rarely spoke more than necessary. She bowed respectfully to the instructor, took her place on the mat, and began her warm-up, graceful, precise, and calm. No one really knew much about Lena. She had joined the dojo only a few weeks earlier, always showing up on time, practicing in silence, and leaving quickly after class. Her soft-spoken nature and slight frame made her easy to overlook, at least until that evening. That was the night everything changed. It started with laughter. Harsh, mocking laughter. "Hey, Bruce Lee's cousin," a voice called out. The words came from Brad, one of the senior students, a broad-shouldered man with a cocky grin and a habit of belittling newcomers.
"You sure you're in the right class? Thought this was for fighters, not tourists."
The room grew quiet for a moment. A few nervous chuckles followed, and the instructor shot Brad a warning glance.
But Lena didn't react.
She simply tightened the wraps around her hands and bowed her head slightly, as if to acknowledge the insult and dismiss it all at once. Brad smirked. He'd been itching for attention, and Lena's calm only fueled his arrogance. "Come on," he said louder, turning to the group.
"How about we have a little fun? I'll go easy on her. Let's see what she's got."
The other students shifted uncomfortably. Nobody wanted to challenge Brad. He was known for taking sparring too far. Lena's gaze lifted slowly. Her dark eyes met his, unreadable but steady.
"No need," she said quietly. "I came to train, not to prove anything." Brad chuckled. "Oh, come on. What's wrong? Scared?"
The instructor stepped forward.
"That's enough, Brad. You know the rules." But Lena raised a hand.
"It's fine, sensei," she said softly.
"If he wants to spar, we can spar." A murmur rippled through the dojo. No one had expected that. The two faced each other on the mat. Brad's smirk returned, confident and cruel. He tapped his gloves together and muttered just loud enough for her to hear, "Don't cry when you lose, sweetheart." Lena bowed respectfully. "I won't." The bell rang. Brad lunged forward instantly, throwing a quick jab. Lena moved like water, fluid, effortless. She sidestepped, his punch slicing through air. He tried again, faster this time, but she pivoted, her movements precise and minimal. The students leaned forward, watching in disbelief. Brad was powerful, but Lena's control was something else entirely. She wasn't reacting, she was predicting. Every motion he made, she read before it happened. Then, without warning, she struck out a blur of motion, a soft parry, a twist, a sweep. Brad's feet left the ground. In less than 2 seconds, he was flat on his back, staring up at the ceiling. The wind knocked out of him. The dojo fell completely silent. Lena took a step back and bowed again. "Thank you for the match," she said quietly, her breathing calm and even. Brad scrambled to his feet, red-faced. "Lucky move," he snapped. He charged again, this time angrier. Another blur, another thud. He was down again, harder this time. The instructor moved forward. "That's enough," he barked, his voice echoing through the hall. Lena stepped back, eyes calm. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't mean to hurt him." But Brad wasn't listening. He sat up, rubbing his jaw, staring at her with a mixture of shock and humiliation. The same students who used to laugh at his jokes now avoided his gaze. For the first time, the dojo was truly silent. After class, Lena quietly gathered her things. The instructor approached her. "That was remarkable," he said, still processing what he'd seen. "Where did you learn to move like that?" She gave a faint smile. "My grandfather taught me," she replied. "Back home, he ran a small school. He always said fighting should be the last thing you do, not the first." The instructor nodded, understanding. "He taught you well." As Lena bowed and turned to leave, a few students approached her, people who had once ignored her. "Hey," one said awkwardly, "sorry for laughing earlier." "That was amazing." She just smiled politely. "It's okay," she said. "Everyone learns at their own pace." But when she walked outside into the cool night air, her smile faded into quiet thought. She wasn't proud of what happened. She never liked to fight. Yet part of her knew it had been necessary. Sometimes silence wasn't enough.
Sometimes, standing up calmly, without hate, was the only way to make others listen. The next evening, Brad returned to class.
He walked straight up to Lena before anyone else arrived.
She tensed slightly, expecting another confrontation, but this time, his voice was low.
"Hey," he muttered, avoiding her eyes. "I was out of line. What I said, it was stupid. You didn't deserve that."
Lena studied him for a moment, then nodded.
"Apology accepted." He gave a small nod back. "You fight good. Real good."
She smiled faintly.
"Thank you. But I don't fight to win. I fight to stay peaceful." Brad blinked, unsure what to say. Then he simply nodded again and walked away, quieter than before. Over the next few weeks, things changed in the dojo. Brad stopped mocking others. The students treated each other with more respect.
And Lena, though still quiet, had become something more, an unspoken example of dignity, strength, and restraint. She never told anyone that her grandfather had trained her in Hapkido, a discipline focused on balance, redirection, and inner control. He had once told her, "The strongest person in the room is the one who never needs to prove it." That night, she had proven it anyway, not out of pride, but out of necessity, and as the weeks went by, every time a new student joined the dojo, they would hear the same whispered story about the quiet woman who silenced a bully not with anger, but with grace, and in that silence, every one of them learned what true strength really looked like.